Controversial use of stingrays. And from the looks of things, they aren't the only law enforcement agency using it. So what is a stingray? Well, the stingray is a device that's able to mimic cell phone towers. So when it's connected, it can get details about phones in the area, including the text messages that are both sent and received and the exact location where the phone is. Now, most people didn't even know that law enforcement was using this device, and it could even be unconstitutional. Now, it only came out when the case went to court, and it was heard on appeal. Right now, the American Civil Liberties Union is fighting to get some answers. Joining me live on Skype right now is Nathan Wessler. Nathan is a staff attorney with the ACLU. He's on Skype. Nathan, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
We understand right now that the ACLU is saying that the use of this stingray device is completely unconstitutional. What are you guys doing to make law enforcement tell communities if they're using this device?
Well, we think there might be circumstances under which police would be allowed to use these devices, but only after they go to a judge first, explain exactly what the technology is they're going to use, and get a warrant from a judge. That's the same thing police need to do whenever they conduct a search of private information.
Now, go ahead.
So the difficulty with these devices is that police are sending powerful signals out into people's private homes and through their office walls, and forcing cell phones to register their locations and other identifying information back. And they're not just getting information about the locations of criminal suspects, but of hundreds or even thousands of innocent people too, and that's troubling.
Now, there was an ongoing case, I'm reading here, the case of Florida versus Thomas, and it was an opinion piece. And the only reason that you guys found out about the case was because unsealed documents were finally released where it had said these law enforcement agencies had been using these devices. In fact, as of 2010, it had been used 200 times right here in Tallahassee.
That's right. We only know about this case because when it was heard on appeal, it was discussed by the judges in an open courtroom. But in the trial court here in Tallahassee, it was all secret, and in fact, the transcript of the hearing where it was discussed continues to be secret. So we're trying to get that released, and also trying to get more information directly from the police department so people can learn the extent of the use of this technology and the kind of privacy concerns that it raises.
Now, speaking of the police department, I had a chance to speak earlier today with the public information officer, Dave Northway, and he says that they go through the right channels. Let's take a listen.
Its application is only limited to finding either missing persons or dangerous criminal suspects. We're not using it to monitor citizens' whereabouts or someone's movement, something like that. We do not access, record, or retain any data unless it is expressly authorized by the courts, when we would go and say this is something that we'd like to do, and then we get permission to do so.
So you hear what he says. He says they go to courts and they get these, they get warrants signed off on judges. However, according to the documents that we see from this case, the judges say they had no idea and there was no evidence of that. What are you seeing from the information that you're getting? Is that the case?
Well, that's right. The truth is we have very little information, and it's the responsibility of the Tallahassee Police Department and other departments around Florida to explain to the public exactly how they're using this technology. Now, in this case that we know a little bit about, it sounds like the reason the police didn't tell a judge about their use of this technology and did not go and try to get a warrant or permission ahead of time is that, incredibly, they had signed a non-disclosure agreement with the private company that gave them the stingray device. And then they turned around and said, well, because the company asked us to keep it secret, we're not even going to go to a judge and tell them in secret to get a warrant. We're not going to tell them, and we're certainly not going to tell the public. It just cannot be that the mere desire of a corporation to keep its deal with a city secret overrides the public's right to know what the government is doing.
We're going to continue to follow this story closely. Thank you so much. Again, Nathan Wessler, who is the staff attorney for the ACLU. You can follow the story with us on our website.